Hello all, welcome to MSc Microbiology course CCTP 7 Immunology. Today we are going to discuss about receptor tyrosine kinase from the chapter Cell Surface Molecules and Receptors. In the previous lecture we have discussed G protein coupled receptors and now today we are going to discuss about the receptor tyrosine kinase. What is the basic difference between the G protein coupled receptor and the receptor tyrosine kinase is that for the activity G protein coupled receptors they require or take a help of heterotrimeric G proteins, and this G protein it helps in the transmission of signals, and according to that signal cellular responses will be generated. But in case of receptor tyrosine kinase, as its name indicates, kinase means for addition of phosphate group. So, phosphate groups will be added at the tyrosine residues which are present within that receptor. So, autophosphorylation of that receptor will take place once the ligand will bind to that receptor. So, let's discuss in detail about the receptor tyrosine kinase. They are directly linked to intracellular enzymes. Receptor tyrosine kinase are directly linked to intracellular enzymes, while in case of the GPCR, they mediate the transmission by using heterotrimeric G protein. Receptor tyrosine kinase are the largest family of enzyme-linked receptors. Their main function is to carry out the phosphorylation of the substrate protein which are present on the tyrosine residue. Now, this receptor tyrosine kinase it includes receptor for polypeptide growth factors, and they are mainly involved in the control of animal cell growth and the differentiation. So, the ligand for this receptor tyrosine kinase will be the EGF, epidermal growth factor, NGF, neuron growth factor, PDGF, platelet derived growth factor, insulin, and many other growth factors. So, this protein tyrosine kinase it constitutes an N-terminal extracellular ligand binding domain. In addition to that, a single transmembrane alpha helix is there, and it also consists of C-terminal domain with protein tyrosine kinase activity. So these are the components of receptor tyrosine kinase. If we see the insulin receptor, then it will consist of two pairs of polypeptide chain. So once the ligand will bind to this polypeptide chain within the extracellular domain, the activation of cytosolic kinase domain will be carried out. So once this cytosolic kinase domain is activated, it results in the phosphorylation, that is the addition of phosphate group of both the receptor and the intracellular proteins. So once these intracellular proteins they get phosphorylated, then they propagate or transmit the signal. So, in case of receptor protein tyrosine kinase, after binding of the ligand, the first step is the dimerization of receptors. Now, that will be in case of the insulin, but in case of the PDGF, that is the platelet derived growth factor and the neurons growth factor, these two receptors are the dimers. That is, they consist of two identical polypeptide chains. So, how the dimerization or the linking of two identical chains will take place. Dimerization means binding of two different receptor molecules. So if we see in case of the monomers, the example is epidermal growth factors. They have two distinct receptor binding sites which cross-link the receptors. Dimerization means the autophosphorylation of receptors. Dimerization means autophosphorylation so that they can cross phosphorylate one another. So if on one polypeptide chain phosphorylation will be there, it will carry out the phosphorylation on another polypeptide chain. So here you can see in this case this is the receptor tyrosine kinases. It consists of dimers, two polypeptide chains will be there. So these are the ligand binding sites. This is the exterior portion of the receptor and this will be the intracellular domain. So on the extracellular domain you can see ligand binding sites are there. This is N-terminal domain. Now, this is transmembrane alpha helix. It helps in passage of this receptor through the cell membrane. On the extracellular domain, you can see activation loop is there and poorly active protein tyrosine kinases are there. So, in this case, how the activation is take place or carried out. So first, this ligand they bind to the ligand binding site. So once the ligand will bind to the ligand binding site, these two receptors now come in close contact with each other. So the dimerization will take place of this receptor. Once these two polypeptide chain they dimerize or link to one another, the next step is the phosphorylation, that is the addition of phosphate group on the protein tyrosine kinase which are present on the cytosolic or the extracellular domain. So here you can see the ATP will donate the first one of the phosphate group and it will get converted into the ADP. On the second polypeptide chain also the ATP molecule will donate one of the phosphate group to the activation leaf of this protein tyrosine kinase and ATP will get converted into the form of ADP and the extracellular cytosolic domain we can say it get phosphorylated. So once it receive the phosphate group we can say now they are present in a activated form and this is the second stage of the ac- dimerization and the phosphorylation of the protein tyrosine kinase. Now, once this protein tyrosine kinase it get phosphorylated, the next step is to carry out the phosphorylation of additional tyrosine residue which are present on this receptor. In addition to the phosphorylation of activation leaf, it also carry out the activation of another protein tyrosine residue which are present on this receptor tyrosine kinase. If you see the figure 2 and the 3, uh, con- you can notify the difference. In case of the figure 2, only one of the domains will get phosphorylated, while in third case, what will happen once this activation leaf is get phosphorylated, the additional phosphorylation of another tyrosine residue which are present on that receptor will take place. And this is the basic mechanism of the receptor tyrosine kinase. So its main function is that the first step is the dimerization of two receptors. Initially, the two receptors they are equidistant from each other, but once the ligand will bind, dimerization, that is two receptors they link to one another, and the second step is the autophosphorylation. That is ATP molecule will donate one of the phosphate group and ATP will get converted into the ADP and it results in the phosphorylation of tyrosine kinase. Now the next step is the autophosphorylation. autophosphorylation of other tyrosine residue which are present on the same receptor molecule. So once this tyrosine residue which are getting activated by the addition of phosphate group on the activation loop, what will happen? The autophosphorylation of another residues will take place on the receptor protein tyrosine kinase. So we can say it gets activated. So as we have discussed, the cytosolic domain of this receptor tyrosine kinase, they consist of protein tyrosine kinase catalytic activity. So when the ligand will bind, what will happen? It will induces a conformational changes that promotes the formation of dimeric receptor. That is, the two monomers which are situated apart from each other, they will combine with each other and they are forming dimers. So when the dimers are formed, the two intrinsic or the kinases receptor, they come in contact with each other and they start the phosphorylation of tyrosine residue which are present on their cytosolic domain. So once the tyrosine residues are getting phosphorylated, we can say they are present in a activated form. So how this phosphorylation or the activation of this tyrosine residue is take place. So for the phosphorylation, the activation leap, it will move out of the catalytic site and it allow the ATP or other phosphate donor molecules or the substrate to bind on that receptors. So this activated kinase, it then now transfer one of the phosphate group to that of the tyrosine residue so that after receiving the phosphate group, the tyrosine residues they are getting phosphorylated and we can say the activation of the kinase will take place within the cytosolic domain. So what is the main function of these phosphorylated tyrosine residue which are present on the cytosolic domain? This residue, phosphotyrosine residue, they will function as docking site or they can function as binding site for various signal transduction proteins. Now, what is the role of this autophosphorylation? So, autophosphorylation, if the tyrosine residue which are present within the cytosolic domain of receptor protein tyrosine kinase, they are getting phosphorylated, then they play a regulatory role by increasing the activity of that receptor protein kinases so that it is ready to phosphorylate additional tyrosine residues. The major second role which was played by this autophosphorylation is that once the phosphorylation of these tyrosine residues will take place, they will serve as a docking site or the binding site. So once these binding sites are generated, then it will bind to the additional protein and it's such a kind of the activation or the phosphorylation of large number of proteins. It helps in the intra downstream it will help in the transmission of intracellular signal to the downstream of the activated receptors or the passage of signal within the different intracellular molecules. So, these downstream signaling molecules which are associated with this receptor protein tyrosine kinase, it is mainly mediated by the protein domain. So, this protein domain they bind to the specific phosphotyrosine containing peptides. So for that or for other docking site, the two domains they play important role. The first one is the SS2 domain and that one is also known as the SRC homology 2 and these are so named because these are first recognized in protein tyrosine kinase, which are related to SRC. SRC are the oncogenic proteins of Rous sarcoma virus. So this SS2 domain, it mainly consists of approximately 100 amino acids, and this short peptide sequence, it consists of mainly phosphotyrosine residues within them, and therefore tyrosine residues are help in the activation of this receptor tyrosine kinase. So, once this SS2 domain it is associated with the activated receptor, then the first stage is the localization of this SS2 containing protein to the plasma membrane. So, this SS2 domain or the protein then associated with the other proteins by using a phosphotyrosine binding domain. That one is also known as the PTB. Okay, so once this SS2 protein they bind via this PTP domain, they carry out the phosphorylation of another tyrosine residues, and they increase or stimulate the enzymatic activity. So here you can see this is the activated receptor tyrosine kinase. This is the extracellular phase, and this one will be the cytosolic phase. So if you see now initially they both are situated equidistant from each other. After binding of these ligands on the extracellular domain, what will happen? Thus these two receptors they come in contact with each other, so that we can say dimerization of the receptor will take place. Once the dimerization will take place, this activation lead is come out of the protein tyrosine kinase. So it will provide the binding site for the ATP. Now ATP will provide a phosphate group, so that the ATP will get converted into the ADP, and the phosphorylation of this tyrosine kinase will take place. Once this activation lead is phosphorylated, we can say this receptor tyrosine kinase is get converted into the activated form. In addition to the phosphorylation of this activation lead, it carry out the autophosphorylation of other tyrosine residues which are present on this cytosolic domains. Okay, here is your SS2 domain. Now this SS2 domain, it will after dimerization or the activation of this RTK, it will move towards the plasma membrane, so that it helps in association of different intracellular protein with that of the activated receptor tyrosine kinase. So this mainly form binding with other protein by using PTB domain, that is the phosphotyrosine binding domain. Now here you can see now this domain is bind to the different intracellular proteins which are present within that cell. Now phosphorylation of this tyrosine residue which are present on this intracellular protein will be carried out, and the signal will pass from one protein to another protein, so that intracellular signaling cascade will be generated, and it results in the activation or in it results in the production of cellular responses. So this cytosolic protein with the SH2 or the PTB, they can bind to the specific phosphotyrosine residues which are present on this receptor tyrosine kinase or cytokine receptors. Now, once these proteins they are getting phosphorylated, they carry out the phosphorylation of different proteins, and they enhance the activity of protein receptor tyrosine kinase. So this receptor tyrosine kinase it provide multi-docking proteins like the IRS1, so that it increases the number of signaling protein which come at the site at the plasma membrane, and activation of all these proteins will take place by autophosphorylation. So phosphorylation of kinase 1. By this receptor kinase activity, it provides additional docking or the binding site for different SH2 containing signaling protein so that it helps in the activation of intracellular proteins and generation of a signal transduction cascade which helps in the generation of particular cellular responses. These are the references. Thank you.